So I think one of the things that's going to make this really cool is that it's a live audience, and normally podcast is a closed environment. And you know about podcasts.
This is my first live podcast.
First live podcast, and we tell stories. It's a lot of firsts that we tell stories. There's a lot of firsts that we tell stories. So I'll be talking to Wayland, but feel free to engage and raise your hand and ask questions. We'll definitely make sure that as we're talking, and I have a list of questions as well, that you all are able to engage as well. Like you said, get up, go get some food, refill your cups, grab some ice cream sandwiches. It's real laid back, but we have a very much so honored guest in the building, and that is Sean Johnson. Just throw your hands up. No, I'm playing. We got Sean, and we'll get to Wayland Cubit. But definitely just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out here today. We Tell Stories has a very rich history in Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City Metro. I cannot tell you how many artists and how many poets and how many musicians and how many instrumentalists have been birthed out of a vision from Hetty, just getting people together and having a good, clean environment and sharing their story however they want to tell it, whether it's through poetry or music or connections or business. Very much so want to shout out Hetty, and thanks so much for putting this on for us today. We also not only are going to interview influencers like Wayland Cubit today and artists that we've had in the past, but also like We Tell Stories fans. I'm always excited I was actually in Enid, Oklahoma, and somebody came up to me and was like, body rolls. And I was like, that's me. Like, I'm the body roll guy. And she was like, I'm a fan of We Tell Stories. I used to live in Oklahoma City, and I moved away, and we haven't found anything like it since. And so We Tell Stories, while it is a community Oklahoma City favorite, I think that the more conversations that we have, we'll see that it ripples out throughout the community, Oklahoma City, the greater Oklahoma City Metro, and so on. So not only are we interviewing artists, but we're also interviewing We Tell Story alum and fans. And not only do we have that, but we got sponsors. And so, we got to make sure that we acknowledge our sponsors. Shout out to the Treasury. The Treasury is a co-working space in Oklahoma City that provides women with the resources and relationships they need in order to succeed. They provide office space, conference rooms, masterminds, events, and more. You can check out the Treasury at thetreasury.work, and their Instagram is Treasury OKC. Also want to shout out the Hair Cafe. The Hair Cafe College. They are a barber, cosmetology, aesthetics, and manicuring school. You can find out more information about them at the Hair Cafe College on Instagram and on Facebook, the Hair Cafe Cosmetology and Barbering College. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I want y'all to put your hands together for the one, the only, the myth, the legend, Wayland Cubit.
And Sean Johnson.
Come on. Central chocolate. Thanks so much for being here. I've tried in my prep for this interview to not pretend we are on your patio having a conversation, which is where a lot of our connection takes place.
We should act like we're on our patio.
Should we?
We should act like we're on our patio. A lot of these world's problems get solved on the patio. That would be great.
If
they want to solve some problems.
If they don't want to solve some problems, then let's keep it off the patio.
Then let's just keep it off the patio.
Well, let's transport to the patio.
Okay.
Normally, when you have a guest, you read a bio and talk about all the things that they've done, but I don't want to do that today. I want you to introduce yourselves in a very unique way.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you some prompts, and then I want you to talk about yourself. I want you to really brag
because
on yourself.
Because you know the bio.
I know the bio.
Because you know the bio.
I know the bio. I'm saying like, we know your story. Well, I know your story. They don't know your story. But I want you to tell your story in a very unique way.
Okay.
So, brag on yourself. Do not hold back. Prompt number 1.
Not going to be any bragging.
Racquetball.
Okay, I'll brag a little.
Okay.
So, racquetball. 1987, I graduated high school. I went to the University of Oklahoma. I'm playing tennis. I call this ghetto tennis because we used to go out to the courts, me and my buddies from Millwood, and we would, shout out to Millwood, and we would hit the tennis ball back and forth. We didn't realize that we were pretty good but we were playing and hitting with people that had scholarships on the OU tennis team.
Oh, wow.
So we were pretty good. And they go, have y'all ever played racquetball? Y'all should meet us at Houston Huffman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll try it. And so this is the first time I ever see a racquetball court, and it looks super easy. And so I go onto this court thinking, I see this challenge court, this really heavy set white guy with a big beard, smokes cigarettes, and he's beating everybody. And I'm going to whoop his tail.
Yeah.
I'm going to run him all over. And after he run me all over, I said, I'm not going to stop playing this game until I beat his fat butt. Mm-hmm. And in that process, I got hooked. And years later became the number 5 player in the nation.
Number 5 racquetball player in the nation.
Yeah. So I'm saying that I can still, even in my fat old age condition, and haven't played in a long, long time, that I could beat everybody in this room any day of the week.
Yeah.
Except for you. I do you twice on Tuesday.
Twice on Tuesday. I'm not denying that at all.
So that's the only bragging I'm going to do.
Yeah. Okay. Brad continued. Here's the next prompt: table tennis.
Table tennis.
Because we got some table tennis players in the room.
I've never played table tennis.
Really?
I've never played table tennis.
Wow.
When I grew up, it was ping pong.
Okay. All right.
And I think there's a difference.
Okay.
I think there's a difference because in ping pong, there's a whole lot of arguing and smack talk.
Yes.
Table tennis is kind of tennis on a small table, right? So, yeah, I played a lot of ping pong, basement style, St. Louis, East St. Louis is where it started with my family and friends. And so there was a little bit of childhood gambling going on. You lose, you cleaning the kitchen, you know that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I put in a lot of sweat and tears on the ping pong table, and I only recently stopped playing because my son got good enough to beat me, and I cannot. I'm too
Prideful
to let my son beat me in ping pong. So yes, I all games, and we might get into this later, but. Everything that you play as a childhood, every sport, I can think of just about every major sport I dabbled in.
Yeah.
I'm not the best at, but I can hold my own at. But it was always seems as a connection point to youth and young men that I play. They say football, I can throw a football. They say basketball, I can do a layup.
Yeah.
They do, whatever it is, I can shoot pool, ping pong, checkers, chess. For some reason, whatever, God gifted me with some knowledge in all of those games. And so I don't brag, but boy, don't let me beat you. Then I brag a lot.
Ooh, then I'm bragging a lot. Bragging a lot. I
yeah.
played you table tennis. You're really good.
Right.
Yeah. Here we go. Number 3, the third prompt: retired.
I am retired.
Okay.
Unbelievable. I retired in May of 2022 from the Oklahoma City Police Department after 26 years.
Yeah.
And I took a long time off, a month. Before I took
1 month.
1 month.
Long time.
Before I accepted a position as the director of security for Oklahoma City Public Schools. And wow. So I'm not retired. I am full-fledged, foot on the gas, going, and I'm trying to figure out how to best serve Oklahoma City in that capacity.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Prompt number 4: conversations with Cubit.
Conversations with Cubit. I wish this was Conversations with Cubit, but this is We Tell Stories. Okay, so
and you're
so I don't
being
get that, and
interviewed
I'm being interviewed.
versus interviewing.
Conversations with Cubit was kind of a thing that we stumbled into. In 2020, I ran for sheriff of Oklahoma County.
Yeah,
I was the first African American nominee for the Democratic Party that the state has ever had.
in the state of Oklahoma.
In the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Took a loss. We lost. We lost. But what happened, if you remember, in 2020, the pandemic started, and my campaign said I was a perfect candidate because you're a personable person. You're going to win a lot of votes because when you knock on doors, people are just going to naturally gravitate to you. You're a great conversationalist. You ask great questions. You care about people. That's going to resonate with people as we put you out on the road and knock doors. And you're going to knock doors all over Oklahoma County. Yes, I am. That's the key to winning in a Republican state. But then the pandemic hit. You can't knock doors.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could knock doors, but I thought it was disrespectful.
Yeah.
And so I decided not to knock doors. And so how was I going to get my message out there? And I said, what's this Facebook thing y'all made me get on?
Yeah.
They made me get on Facebook because I had to reach people. And so every Tuesday night, I got on Facebook Live. The first time I did it, I was flipped. I was upside down because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to go live. I didn't know how to do that stuff.
Oh man,
I did not.
Grandpa, turn your phone the other way.
It was like, I don't know how to do it. And so I went live and I started having conversations. I thought that I was going to have conversations with all of the people and groups and organizations that I had done work with over the years, over 20 years in law enforcement and the community engagement stuff I was doing. And come to find out that all of those people couldn't talk to candidates because they were involved with nonprofits or city organizations, all that kind of stuff. So I started this conversation with Cubit and ended up talking about myself throughout the entire campaign. So it was very sickening. It was very hard, but it resonated with people. And I would always leave conversations with words of wisdom.
Yeah.
And so the conversation is, the campaign is over, and shut it down. And the very next week, what happened is I posted a live conversation the night of the campaign results came in. You were hosting.
I was there.
You were hosting.
Yeah.
And I was at 10 o'clock, I was leading. By 10:10, the number was shrinking.
Yes.
The shrinking. And by the time that we had to leave our space, but by the time I got home, it was apparent that I lost the campaign.
Yeah.
And so I hit the live button to tell my followers what the results were. Had my kids with me, and they saw it raw.
Yeah.
They saw it raw. And so the next morning I had all these inboxes. I hope you don't quit posting live conversations. And I went, I ain't talking about me no more. I ain't doing it.
Right.
But I went back and said, I have worked with a lot of people that need to be highlighted. And so the next Tuesday, I went live conversation with Cubit and put on people that people ought to know that are doing significant things and making an impact and influence in our community in positive ways.
Yeah.
And so I have conversation with Cubit every Tuesday night, 7:30.
Yeah.
Watch it. Time in and share it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And because you're like unaffiliated, then you can have those
I
conversations.
can have conversation with anybody about anything.
Yeah, but you could not do before, and
Those
other
I
people
couldn't
could not do it as well.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
One thing that I will say, that being there the night with you of the campaign results, is that the same Cubit that I see now is the same one that I saw walking out the door. And I don't know, like being with your family, getting those raw feelings, but I know that you are consistently a source of encouragement and positivity. And even in the face of a loss or whatever it was, it appeared as though you held it together.
Yeah, it appeared that. Yeah, it appeared that. But really, what I was grounded in is that I only said yes to running for the campaign because I really felt like God told me to run for sheriff. And it became clear to me the week before the election that he reminded me that he said, I told you to run for sheriff. I didn't tell you to be sheriff. I didn't say you were going to win it. I told you to run. And so I felt that I was very, very faithful in doing that. And so what you saw was a guy that said, I did what I was supposed to do. So it's either next level that God wanted me to go to or the next lesson that he wanted me to learn. Yeah. And so that's exactly the way I presented myself. I was like, there's got to be a lesson in this, and it does not feel good. Yeah. It does not feel good. But I was telling Sean before we came here that the loss is only on paper. The loss is only on paper. I ain't lose a thing, bro. Yeah. It has been the influence that I've gained, the lessons that I've learned, the people that have come to me and said they were impacted by the messages that we put out through our campaign, the integrity in which I ran the campaign through. I didn't go dirty, although I was tempted. It probably would have been easy to. It would have been. Oh, it was easy. Did you see my opponent? It would have been easy to go. It would have been easy to go dirty, right? But so we just kept it. We just kept it in the lanes and try to respect him. And try to respect the profession. The profession should always be noble, regardless of we're going to make mistakes. So don't be a mistake trying to win something. Yeah, right. That's good. That's good, man. We gotta keep it going. Okay, here we go. Next one is Guthrie. That's your next prompt. Oh man, okay. So Guthrie, that's where we're at right now. Yes, that's where we are. Right. So my life intersects with Guthrie, Oklahoma, in so many ways. One, my grandmother, 98 years old, just passed away. This is where she's from. She's buried right here in Summit Military, next to my grandpa, next to my great-grandma, next to every family member right here in Summit, and arrangements are being made for when my mother goes, right here in Guthrie, Oklahoma. So this is an important place for me. Not only that, 612 East Vallis is where my great-grandmother raised all of her kids and stuff, right? East 12, East Vallis, right? A couple of blocks from here. And every year for 89ers, every Sunday or so, we were in that yard playing. And so in 1996, when I became a police officer, I was a police officer right here in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Amazing.
And I got to patrol my grandmother's house.
Wow.
Yeah. At night.
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And she had this flower bed that was immaculate with all different colors. And she worked on it every day except for Sunday. And you better not be caught touching anything on Sunday. That's the Lord's day. That's the Lord's day. And so at Saturday night at midnight, I remember patrolling, saying, "Don't nobody be messing with that flower bed," because my grandma don't allow that on Sunday. It's Sunday. 12:01. It's Sunday. Yeah. So I love it. Don't get me talking about Guthrie.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Dancing.
Oh man, dancing. So me and my wife were. She would say we still are. We step. We do swing out. Yeah. And she is cold at it.
No, don't sell yourself short.
Good.
Don't sell yourself short.
Well, so you have to understand. So in dancing, the way it looks beautiful is when the guy recognizes that we're creating a beautiful picture when we dance, and the woman is the picture and the man is the frame.
Fellas,
right? So she looks beautiful. Yeah, she is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got some buttery hips, though. I've seen you move, man. I mean, like, you smooth with it. Yeah. You smooth with it. I mean,
we ain't going to let him define it.
Don't get it twisted, folks.
The buttery, yeah.
He's smooth with it.
I'll take a drink on that. Yeah.
All right. TED Talk.
TED Talk. So I was selected 2019 to do a TED Talk, TEDx, OKC. Super intimidated by that, although I like to run my mouth and talk. I didn't realize all the work to go into it, so I did the work. Did a TED Talk on how to overcome our biases because of my work in race and reconciliation stuff. Went over well, but I really just, I don't know what we want to say about it other than I talked about what it means to be a black cop and what I learned about being a cop in today's society and being a black man in today's society.
Yeah.
And where those things come together where you have to face your biases.
Yeah. Now, I've heard this story tens of times, but I don't know if the people in the room have heard this story. Can you tell us about being a black cop in Norman?
Black cop in Moore.
Moore.
Yeah. So Moore was basically a sundown town. Yeah, sundown town, and I was one of the few African Americans still in the '90s, late '90s, that worked as a African American cop there, and it was not unlike someone getting a call and you come in there with your white partner, and you ask them a question. They look at you to get the question, but they give the answer to the white cop, right? In trying to find your place in that. But what came from what I learned about being a black cop there and working around white officers is that we have a lot of commonality. And working third shift and talking to them about I became friends and figured out there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know about white folks, and the white folks didn't know about black folks, and we share a lot of space. But becoming friends with white cops and trusting them with my life and them trusting me with their life on particular calls is that there can be some unity, but not without conversation. Real deep conversation. Yeah.
Tell us the toilet paper story.
Toilet paper story. So what happened in you should have prompted me about this one. I didn't know you.
I was trying to lead you there. I didn't know that I was trying to lead you.
So what happened to get to this unity conversation? Was a call late night. So we get a call late night where the dispatcher said that they had a house covered in toilet paper. All the house was covered in toilet paper. The bushes was covered in toilet paper. It was all that. And so I get to the call and I see this house is trashed. And so they said that it was a car had just driven by some time ago. So I said, it's late night, so let me sneak around. So I get in the neighborhood, I cut out my lights, I let the window down. I'm being stealthy. I'm listening for engines. It's 2:00 in the morning, and I hear this motor coming, and they come up to the intersection that I'm hiding at. They don't see me, and when they drive by, I see these 4 or 5 teenagers in the back of the truck. It's like, oh yeah, that's got to be them. That's got to be them. So I get behind them. I cut on all my lights. Woo woo, and yeah, and they just drop down in the bed to hide. So I walk up to the truck and I look in the bed of the truck and I see these 3 white young men, teenagers, hiding behind 2 huge boxes of toilet paper. And so I know I got the right car.
Yeah.
And so I go up to the window and it's this middle-aged white woman driving, and I'm very Barney Fife-like, very serious. Ma'am, I need to see your driver's license, your insurance. And so she goes for her driver's license insurance, and she's really just not worried about this at all. And she hands it to me, and I said, "What are you doing out here tonight?" And she said, "You know." I'm like, "No, I do not know. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And she says, "Officer, you know." "Ma'am, I do not know. What are you doing out here at 2:00 in the morning with these kids in the back of your truck?" She says, "Well, TPN houses." I'm like, "TPN? Whatever. I don't even know what that is." So I go back to my car with her driver's license, her insurance. I get my state statute book out, and I'm like, "This stuff is so stupid." This is, and don't judge me, but this is exactly what I was thinking, and it's fair to say this was 1996, 1996 Wayland, not today's Wayland. I said, this is the biggest white trash thing I've ever seen. Running around throwing toilet paper
on people's houses. Who does that?
This is the stupidest thing. Who does that? And so I'm offended.
Yeah.
I'm offended. So I'm not only looking at my city ordinance book, but I got the state statute book. I'm writing a ticket for everything I can find. She gonna learn today.
Yeah.
She gonna learn today.
Yeah.
On my watch. Right. So I got my foot up, and I got and I'm looking at them, and I'm writing ticket number 1, ticket number 2 for these 3 or 4 kids, and for her. And it's taken me an extra long time to write all these tickets. And so my white buddy, pulls up and says, "Cubit, what, you need some backup on this? It's taking you a long time to get this traffic stop." And I said, "No, dude, I'm just writing. I'm hammering this lady because you wouldn't believe what she's out doing." He says, "What's she doing?" "She is out here driving these kids around, throwing toilet paper all over the houses and the trees in this neighborhood." And he says, "Yeah, she's TPN houses." I was like, "That's what she said." Yeah. He said, "Bro, you don't know, you ain't never TP'd house?" I said, "I've never heard of that."
Right.
He says, "Well, around here, if you grew up around here, around this time of year, especially if you're a popular kid, this is what happens. You just go around and you TP you throw toilet paper. It's called TPN." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, it's just a common thing. It happens all the time. It's no big deal." What? I'm like, okay, I guess.
Ripped them up, ripped the tickets out.
I'm like, this is normal. Yeah. And so I go and bawl a lady out, this is stupid, blah, 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 blah. I'm offended, going about your bed, you better put them kids to bed, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then I say, "Hey, man, meet me over here at the 7-Eleven, let's get a coffee." And we go in and he's explaining it to me. And I'm saying, "Do you know black people don't do that?" And it just opens up a whole conversation. And then I said, I wonder, I got to get in this game. I got to get in this conversation. I got to get people talking about it, because here I am, a black cop in a white community, and I'm about to penalize those white kids for something I don't understand about their community.
Come on.
But generally speaking, we have white officers patrolling minority neighborhoods. How often are they penalizing our kids for something they don't understand?
Yeah.
I got to get in this conversation.
Yeah.
And so we start having this conversation, and so I've got comfortable having hard conversations.
Yeah. And we're going to circle back to those hard conversations. Right. Yeah. Okay, here we go. I got 2 more prompts. The next one is master mentor.
Master mentor, not a name I gave myself. I think probably that was created by probably Marcus Jackson and Les Thomas and maybe Sean Johnson has something to do with that. I don't know. Master mentor, it is a title that I love, because it just means, all it means is that you intentionally, on purpose, love on people, and you love sharing wisdom with young people.
Yeah.
You make it your business to elevate others and sacrifice yourself to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And taking it beyond that initial mentorship level.
Yeah. Not your reading buddy.
Yeah.
Not your show up every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Master mentor is when we shake that hand. When we shake that hand. So there's a couple of different handshakes, Derrick.
Yeah.
There's a handshake greeting. There's a greeting. And then there's a contract. Right. Master mentors know the difference, and they make sure when they give that one handshake that it's a contract.
Yeah.
I'm with you, bro, for life.
Yeah.
Like you and I shared a contract hand. I don't know if you remember it or not. We've had a contract handshake.
I mean, just one?
The first one was a contract.
Ooh.
The one we had a contract. Okay, let me tell you.
Okay, I was like, remind me on it.
So what happened? Derrick, I'm trying to get Derrick to come and work with me.
Uh-huh.
He will say work for me. And I'm trying to get Derrick to come work with me. And so we're sitting in my office. You'll remember this. And I'm sharing with you my vision for FACT and the city and what I thought you could bring to it and what I saw you were doing in the other capacity in which you were serving. And I thought you came on board.
Yeah.
And I said, don't do this if it doesn't serve your family. And I won't ask you to do this if it doesn't serve your wife and your kids. Because I've heard you tell stories about your wife and your kids and this all the time.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to ask you to do and what I'm going to commit to is that if you come and work with us, I will not let you do anything that sacrifices what you talk and love the most.
Yes.
Your wife and your kids. We cried. We cried
in your
during
office.
This conversation.
Yeah.
And then there was a handshake.
Okay.
When you left.
I remember that.
Was that a greeting? Was that a goodbye? Or was that a contract?
That's a contract.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I see you.
Yeah. I see you. Yeah.
I value you. I got your back. I honor you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything to destroy you.
It was a whole lot of things.
Yeah, it was a whole list.
There was a whole lot of things written
in
in
a
that
handshake.
contract. In a handshake.
Yeah.
In a handshake. A master mentor, when they say to a young man or a young woman, they says, I'm going to be a part of your life, shake on it. It's a different kind of handshake. It's a contract that says, call me, I'll show up.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. We got to keep going. We got to keep going.
All
Last prompt, and then I'm going to open it up to the audience for questions.
Right.
Last prompt, which I think could possibly be the best one.
Oh, no.
30 years with Cree.
Dirty 30.
Dirty 30.
Dirty 30. Yeah. That's you don't know Wayland if it ain't for Cree. You don't know.
Tell us who Cree is.
Cree is my wife. She is the lady that has said yes every single time for every single thing, for every single project, for every single people really don't know this unless they follow me real close. Is we have 4 kids, but we have raised 8 foster and adoptive kids on top of our 4.
Yeah.
I've been at work. I've been on the grind. My wife has been serving those kids.
Wow.
My wife has been serving those kids. When those kids tell stories about how they grew up, I might be included.
Yeah.
But they're talking about Cree. And where she has this, she's just special in that way. Listen, I tell you, we bought a new Ford Explorer one time, a used Ford Explorer that was new to us. And we drove that thing around for 4 or 5 months, 6 months. And it had this blue button on it that we kept hitting the button. She hit the button, I hit the button, she hit the button. Nothing ever happened. It wouldn't happen. And then one day we said, man, this damn thing is stupid. This is stupid. And we just put some pressure on the button, and it was an automatic start on our truck. And it just did something we didn't know. And I said, Cree, I remember saying, I said, boy, that button is just like you. Every time I put you under the pressure, you do something special. Every time it was time to take in another kid, she put a little pressure on her, and I don't even know what we were doing. That woman came up with something special that I didn't know. She always had another gift to give.
Wow.
She's just, man, Cree, 30 years. We couldn't do 30 years without her. There's nobody who's gonna put up with her like that.
Yeah, 30 years. Woo-wee.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So that's his bio. That's how we did his bio tonight. I think that's a great way to do a bio. I think I'm going to start using it. You all feel free to do it as well. Is there anything you want to ask before we go into the rest of our interview?
Okay.
Going once, going twice. I got a ton of questions.
Thank
all right, here we
God
go, man. Let's
anything.
dive on
Thank
in. Let's dive
God.
on in. Here we go. So you are a phenomenal interviewer. I mean, you're talking about conversations with Cubit, working with OKC Good. We're talking about interviewing and talking to some of Oklahoma City's biggest names and biggest personalities, all the way down to getting into the heart of kids. What do you enjoy the most about asking a question and then sitting back and receiving the answer?
No, the thing about I'm really embraced in the last several years. I just embrace the role of leader, not just leader of my family, not just leader of this unit at the police department, but just embracing my role as a leader in the community. And what I found out is that the best leaders ask questions and another question and another question and another question, is because the hardest thing about leadership is communication. And the hardest thing about communication is listening. And so I have trained myself to just ask another question and just sit back and listen. And I try not to plan the next one, because if you plan the next one, you're not listening.
Yeah.
Right?
You might miss out.
Yeah. And so what I found out, the best thing about asking questions is what it does to the person I'm talking to, is because they start to understand and believe that I really care about them. I'm interested. I'm interested. Questions show people that you're interested. And so I ask questions of individuals, I ask questions of groups, and I ask questions of city leaders. And the reason I ask questions to those people is because I care about this city. And I care about the people in it.
Yeah.
And I care about the groups that pour into it. I want to know. Right?
And what is that? Is that a natural curiosity, or like, did you get that from somebody? Like, who was the best question asker? Like, where did you get that from?
Yeah, you're a great question. I mean,
I'm asking a lot right now.
Well, you're doing this as part of the program, but you've been doing this since the day I met you.
Yeah.
Like, you just ask another question, but why is that? And why is this? And how did you get there? And how did you arrive? And so you're saying you care about what I think and how I arrive at that. And so you're very good at that. Taylor Doe is very, very good at that.
He is.
There's most of the influence in our city are people that ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Right. And then they try to help fill the gaps with what they hear.
Yeah.
With what they do, if they really understand. So leaders are question people that ask questions. Period.
So when you think about like questions, what's the most powerful, impactful, important question that or and maybe it's just not one, maybe it's a group of questions.
It's a lot
like
of questions.
When you think about a question that you've been asked that just is causing you to stop and pause or freeze or reflect, or like, what's a question you've been asked that has really shaken you? Or
I was the first thing that comes to mind, and there's several, but kids ask questions.
They do, out of the most sincerest place,
out of really pure places.
Yeah.
And so I remember being at Kojak serving those incarcerated youth. I remember being there on a Wednesday where it was just me. It wasn't the rest of the group. And I'm doing a presentation and talking to them and trying to motivate them, inspire them, tell them that I care, show them the care. And one, it's over. Hey, man, see you later. See you next week. Hey, see you next week. And they're all going their way. And one kid hangs back. And he says, hey, I got a question for you, man. I said, okay, what you got? What you got? And I said, I don't have much time. We don't have much time. He said, ain't going to take much time. Why do you care? Why do you care? Why do you care? Boy, good question. Let me ponder on that. Can I tell you that next week? We don't have time. And so the whole way back, 45-minute drive, I'm trying to figure out, Wayland, why do you do this? Why do you do this?
Yeah.
I don't have any connection with this. These kids got gang background. I don't have any gang background.
Yeah.
They got fatherlessness. I don't have any of that. They got they got trauma. I don't have any of that. Why do you care? And I still can't come up with a beautiful tweetable answer other than the fact that God gave me a purpose and I got to fulfill it. And I feel empty. If they don't make it, I haven't done it. If they don't succeed, I haven't done it. If they don't win, I haven't done it. If they don't find somebody that cares, I haven't done it. So I'm not going to take it for granted that the mama's going to care about them. Yeah. I'm not going to take it for granted that the facility is going to care about them or you going to care about them. I want to leave no doubt that somebody cares about you, that you matter. That's my job.
Yeah. Isn't it heavy though? Like, how do you, what would you say to somebody who cares that much? Whether it's faith and it's spiritual, or it's a mom or a parent for their kid, or somebody for the community. Like, that's heavy.
Bro, it gets really heavy when you lose one of them. Right? I don't even think I think about it as long as everything's going good and I'm not saying good. Everybody's alive and because there's tomorrow. There's hope. They're going to do better tomorrow. They're becoming what they are right now is not what they're going to be. So I still have hope and all that stuff. But when they die, and what I saw, them become that's not going to happen now. That's heavy.
Yeah,
that's heavy. And so that's the times I've called you.
Yeah.
I've said, hey man, I'm out of this game. I'm not trying to mentor no more kids.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be in nobody else's life. I can't lose another one. I can't do it. It's too heavy. It's too heavy. But then you can't help it. You do it again.
Yeah.
You do it again and again and again.
And you think about like caring and engaging is heavy, but not having them there to do that is heavier, right? Like, I don't know if anybody in the room has ever like lost someone.
Yeah.
But that weight, the loss versus having to check in and be that accountability person, like the weight is incomparable. And so it makes us do it.
It's hard either way.
It is hard either way.
It's hard either way. So choose your heart.
Yeah.
Right? You either choose this hard in the beginning, engaging and spending and then sacrificing and doing all that kind of stuff, and then later see them in college and zip up their high school graduation and to celebrate and all that kind of stuff. You can do all that kind of stuff, or you can just be lackadaisical and non-intentional about it and go to the funeral. Or go to the hospital because they're on suicide watch.
Yeah.
Or they're in the mental institution. Or alcoholism, or drug addiction, or having to help them with feed their kids. That's hard too. Yeah, I'd rather do the other hard. Yeah, and invest in a circumstance that might turn out much better.
And I've been alongside you in all of those scenarios, and it's heavy. I'd much rather have those the caring part than the other. So when you care like you do, and you're active in the community, inevitably people look up to you, right? But I want to know, whether it's local or nationally, like, who does Wayland Cubit look up to?
Oh man, that's tough because there's so many people. I secretly watch a lot of people, and sometimes like Hetty, I'm watching Hetty all the time. We're in a group text, so he gets the raw Wayland Cubit sometimes. I know he don't like my cuss words, but I say, remind him I'm a cop. A cop. So I look up to you. I like to look at not the people with the titles, because titles gives you authority. That's not leadership. Influence is leadership. Yeah. Right? So I'm watching people that are actually making things happen and making a difference. I looked up to those people. So the list is vast. There's a lot of people that don't have titles, that don't have authority, that have influence. That's what's making the city move. Yeah. Right? And I'm watching those people. But if I look nationally, what am I reading? What podcasts am I listening to? What videos am I watching? Right now, John Maxwell, man, why am I so late to the game on John Maxwell?
He's been around for a minute.
He's been around a long time. I've heard his name forever and ever and ever and ever, but it was just an old white man to me. Yeah. But man, reading his books and listening to him speak, and it's right down the path of relational leadership and people was what make it happen. I've always been about people. Yeah. And so right now, that's speaking to me right now. Yeah. Yeah.
That's almost like saying, man, you ever seen Jordan play ball? Yeah. It's like, man, I was on YouTube and I came across this guy named Michael Jordan. Have you ever heard of Jordan? You ever seen that guy jump?
I'm like, this book was built in the 70s? Yeah. Like, where have I been? Yeah. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we think about like caring so much and people who look up to us and us looking up to people, like I can't think of a list too long without even getting emotional, right? I think about my dad, and that's an emotional moment. I think about the community and the kids we serve, and that's emotional. When is the last time you've been moved to tears?
The last time?
The last time by emotion, outside of like a few seconds ago, because I saw you kind of.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like, when was the last time you've been moved?
That didn't happen in my 20s, by the way.
No?
I'm a rock, dude. I'm a rock. Yeah. When you hit 50, if you're not 50 yet, every single thing makes a tear come. And I need to just embrace it and just let it go. But I'm still trying to hold on to my 20s. I cried, and I'm trying not to cry. I'm telling you when I cried. I cried yesterday, funeral of an officer. I cried yesterday. But before that, it was a text message from a mentee. I think I was telling you about this. A text message from a mentee that said, basically, not to go into chapter and verse, but I'm done. I'm killing myself.
Yeah.
It was the text message. And the thought killed me. And the reason why, Derrick, the reason why I was so emotional is because this mentee fell in love with me way back when. Our relationship was way back then.
Yeah.
And I had a different capacity way back then. But because I was becoming just like she was becoming, I picked up a whole lot of responsibilities. And so when I got this text message, she was used to send back signal, mentor comes.
Yeah.
Mentor responds. Well, she sent me a bat signal, but because of who I become and all the responsibilities I picked up and everything, I couldn't respond. I couldn't go.
Yeah.
I couldn't go. I'm stuck with the phone in a position I could not go. So I'm sending, I'm sending all these text messages to say, I love you.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on, but you matter to me. Hang on.
Yeah.
So I send resources the best I can, but now we're not responding. We're not getting any text messages back. We're not doing anything. And so I leave my position and I'm crying.
Yeah.
Because I can't do what mentors do. And mentors show up. They show up. And I'm not a master mentor if I can't show up. And I didn't show up. This is a good story. This turns out well, right? This turns out good. But I cried because I was not available. And I questioned my growth, right? People fall in love with who you are, but they don't necessarily fall in love with who you are at the time, right? Like they say, you changed. You didn't got all big time. You didn't ran for sheriff, and you got all that kind of y'all big time. You used to be able to you picked up the phone every time. You responded to all your texts, all that stuff. I still have the same principle and love for you.
Yeah.
But I've grown. I can't do everything. I can't be the same person, right? So yeah, my circumstances have changed, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't. But having them understand that right in this moment, if she's talking about taking her life, I want her to say, my circumstances have changed, not my principle and love for you.
Yeah.
Hang on. And I wasn't able to get that message. So I cried like a baby.
Yeah.
I cried like a baby.
And I've been with you in some of those moments, man, where you get a text and you're retelling the story, even when you're standing in front of students and kids. I mean, we've done prison stuff together, and I've seen you just go down the line and talk to a kid, point at them, say, you matter, and tears coming down your face.
Yeah.
Now, that's in your 40s and your 50s, though.
Yeah.
What happens over time that softens that heart and that causes you to become more emotional more easily, more quickly? Man,
I don't know, other than in my 50s, I've experienced loss. And I've had conversations with people, young people, today, and tomorrow they're not there.
Wow.
Right? And so you realize the special of the minute, the special of this moment, how special this moment is, and how you just want to smell it, you just want to hug it, you just want to hold on to it.
Yeah.
And then something happens, you know that things can change.
Yeah.
Just like that. The funeral I went to yesterday, it was emotional because she was a real hard-charging police officer who sacrificed her time to serve with me with young people. She would Sergeant Megan Burke would work all night and then come and spend all day with kids.
Yeah.
She didn't have kids. She didn't have a family like that. She had dogs. She'd bring her dogs. She'd go to those kids' school. She went and took them to do nails and all that kind of stuff on her time.
Yeah.
Go out, chase bad guys, saved a bunch of people from a fire a couple of nights before she died. Did her shift, Derrick. Did her shift. All the danger is over.
Yeah.
Gets in her car, headed home, head-on crash and kills her.
Yeah.
Of all the dangerous stuff she did, this is how she goes.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And so I think the tears that cause me right now is that I know that I want to add value, and I want this moment to matter. I want it to be impactful in my friends, Taylor Doe calls it "and then." When you start telling your story, I want you to say, "And then Wayland Cubit changed my life."
Wow.
And then that experience I had changed my life. And then he introduced me to, who's the he? Wayland.
Yeah.
And then he told me, and it made me think about something different. Who's he? Wayland.
Wayland. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to this program, and what was the program? Wayland created it.
Yeah.
I went to, Wayland created it. Wayland introduced me to Derrick. Wayland introduced me to Sean. Wayland introduced me to Taylor. Wayland introduced me to Hetty. Wayland introduced me to Leave Tough Story, You Tell Story. Wayland did it. I want to do it all for you.
Yeah.
I know I can't do it all, but the tears come is because I know I can't do it all.
Yeah.
I want to. That makes sense?
It does make sense. Yeah, let's give it up for Wayland Cubit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not done yet. We're not done. But I just wanted to, that was a good, drop the mic, step off the soapbox. I think it's really good. I got a few more questions, but I want to open up to the room. Yes, in the back.
How does a master mentor find his master mentor, and what does that relationship look like?
Now, I'll repeat that into the microphone.
Yes.
How does a master mentor find his master mentor, and
what does that relationship look like?
What does that relationship look like between two master mentors?
Yes. Every mentor has a mentor or two or three or four or five.
Yeah.
If he is a master mentor and he doesn't have people that he goes to, he's lying. He is just somebody that's just trying to influence somebody. Right? I believe that. But how you find them is with open. You got to be honest about who you're not.
Ooh.
Yeah, you got to be honest about who you're not.
Wow.
Right? And when you're honest about who you're not, you go get somebody who is that not. And say, I am weak right here. Please mentor me in this area.
Yeah.
Right? I am a bad father. I am not a good father. I am not a good employee. I am not punctual. I am not a good leader. Whatever you're not, there is somebody out there who is. They're willing to share their world with you. And so what you have to do is what it looks like is you have to give authority to them.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the man. Right? I am it. I run this, all that kind of stuff. But my mentor can say stop, and I stop. I give him authority in my life. Right? I don't understand why I got to stop. I don't want to stop. Or he might say go. I don't understand why to go. I don't want to go. But I give him authority in my life. In that area. What it looks like is submission. It's submission.
It's tough
and
word.
For a man, that ain't easy. Until you become honest with what you're not. And I ain't everything. I ain't everything. And so I need help. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Submission. That's what it looks like. Is giving somebody else authority in your life to tell you to go, stop, jump, sit, read, sleep, eat.
Go home.
Apologize.
Listen.
Apologize. Say I'm sorry. No, go do it again. You didn't mean it like that. Go do it again. No, what's the real meaning? That's bull crap. Yeah, the answer you gave me makes no sense.
Yeah.
Try again. Giving that person authority to call you out, to hold you accountable. That's what it looks like. Submission.
Yeah, and just to quickly recap, how do I find a master mentor? Is I have to admit where I'm not, where I'm low. I find somebody that fills that spot, and then what does that relationship looks like? It looks like submitting and yielding to that expertise, to that position. And one of the things that I've noticed watching you, that I've learned watching you, is that position is given, right? It's like you can't put yourself over somebody in mentorship, right? When I want to be mentored, I give that person that position. So I give you access to me. I give you the ability to call me out and tell me I'm wrong. And I think that's something that's hard when you're a master mentor. Like when you tell people what to do, being told what to do can sometimes feel awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about leadership, and why I say leadership is influence, not authority, is because I have authority over 3-year-old. I can make them do it. I can make them do it. It's when they get 16 or 17. Yeah. Making them do it is a little hard. Influence is the only way I can get them to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to give it up. Yeah. Right. And what I learned about with my dad, who's my number one mentor still, is I don't understand a lot of the things that he told me to do that I should have did, and I look back over it and I'll go, he knew exactly. He knew if I would have just did what he told me to do, even though I didn't understand it, how much better my life would have been. Yeah. Even though I didn't understand. My dad told me when I was 15, he was working on a car, and at 15, I guess I decided I knew everything. And so I don't remember what the issue was, but I was saying, no, Dad, that ain't right. And he said, yeah, it is. And I said, no, Dad, that ain't right. Yeah, it is. You need to do this. No, Dad, I don't want to do it like that. And he comes out from under the car, and he takes that socket, and he points it in my face. He said, now look here. Let me tell you something, boy. You 15. You ain't never been 45. I've been 15. Has it ever occurred to you that I might know something about what you're going through? Yeah. Has it ever? You ain't never been my age. I've been yours, right? And so that sticks in my mind so well. And then shortly before that, can I tell this story?
Yes, go ahead.
So before that, y'all remember CB radios? So CB radios was big when I was a kid, Smokey and the Bandit and all that stuff. And so my dad was great at modulating on the CB, and he was break 19, and he had all these 10 codes and all this kind of stuff. And as a kid, I loved to hear him modulate on the radio. So we were going to St. Louis, me, him, and my mom, and I'm in the back seat. And there was two things that I was looking forward to: racing, because he's going to race some car, and talking on the CB radio. Yeah. And so we're on the way. We hadn't made it to Tulsa yet, I know, because I know this highway so well. We were on our way to Tulsa, I-44, and this Trans Am is coming up behind us fast. And I get up in between my mom and dad. You don't have to wear seatbelts back then. And so, Dad, let's go. Dad, let's go. Let's go. He's coming. He's coming. And I see him looking in the rearview mirror, and that's the sign. That's the sign. It's typical. I know he's gonna hit it, and we ain't gonna let that car catch, and they ain't gonna pass. And but this time he looks up, and he gets on the CB radio, and he said, "Break 19, break 19." How's it look back over your shoulder? And I'm like, this is not CB radio time. This is race time. And he is not gassing. He's not putting it on. He's not going any faster. And finally, he gets somebody coming the other direction to answer the radio. And he said, how does it look back over your shoulder? In the meantime, Trans Am has passed us and gone. And I'm like, dude, okay, I guess we're doing radio. Yeah. You know? And so now I'm paying attention to this conversation, and he's and the person he's talking to, this trucker that he's talking to that's going the other direction, says, hey, it's clean and green all the way back to mile marker, lollipop, something, something, something. He said, but look out for the Smokey that's sitting in the median around lollipop so-and-so. So what he was saying was there's a highway patrol sitting in the median at mile marker 144. Yeah. Whatever. Okay, whatever. We come over the hill. As we come over the hill, I see dust flying out of the highway patrol's car as he pulls out the median to chase over this Trans Am that just passed us. And I said, Dad, did you know that was going to happen? And he said, see, son, if you want to know the way, you always ask those coming back. Wow. Man. So at 15, he's telling me, I've been where you trying to go. Yeah. I told you that when you was 9. Yeah. Now here it is. I'm telling you, I'm about to hit you in the head with this hammer till you get it.
Yeah, at 15.
At 15.
Right.
At 15. But see, sometimes, Derrick, sometimes you learn from experience what you refuse to learn from instruction. Mm-hmm. He was trying to give me instruction, and he's saying, if you don't get this, experience is going to teach you, son.
Yeah.
Get this now, right? And as a mentor, we're trying to say, look, I've got some experiences, and I'm trying to teach you. Here's the rules. Here's the book. Here's the manual, all that kind of stuff. But if you don't get it by this instruction, experience will teach you, son.
Jules,
he
just dropped like 3 of them,
right,
just like right there, and just kept on going,
Yeah.
We're close to the end of our recording, and I have a few more questions, but I don't want to ask my questions if y'all got questions. Yes, go ahead.
What's your biggest regret?
Into the microphone. What is your biggest regret?
Oh, biggest regret. You know, my biggest regret, believe it or not, I can't even say it's a regret, but I do lose sleep on how I downplayed education early in my life. I really, really downplayed it. I'm like, I didn't need it. And I'm doing good, delayed education and all that kind of stuff. But man, I tried to do education while I had kids. I was doing education while I was working. I was doing education. I just wish I would have racked up the credentials. I just wish I would have racked up the educational credentials. I regret not doing the hard stuff. I hated school. Other than the people. The people was great. I love hanging out with everybody. I went to class because everybody was there. But but the thing about I wish I would have did the hard stuff. Now there's no telling what kind of jobs I would have opportunity if I got the credentials that was laid in front of me. I had opportunities. I just like school, whatever. You know. Yeah, I regret that.
Yeah. Questions. Yes.
Since you have discovered John Maxwell, which book has stood out to you? If you had a chance to.
Wait. I gotta repeat because I don't know. Is it gonna pick it up? Is the microphone gonna pick it up?
Yeah.
John Maxwell book. Like what? Since you discovered
what's the one about?
What's one of his books?
You're messing me up with leadership. The title, the law. There's something about laws of leadership.
21 Irrefutable
laws
Laws.
of leadership. Yes, thank you.
All the John Maxwell people in the room. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Come on, Wayland.
Yeah.
His name is Michael Jordan. It's Michael Jordan.
I'm new to John Maxwell. Don't test me like that. I'm new.
So you gotta of course, I don't dare to chime in on that. Winning with People is probably my favorite. But
Which one?
Winning with People.
Oh, that's yes. A lot of quotes from there.
Yeah.
Because I haven't read the book, but I've dabbled around. There's a lot of stuff on winning with people. Yes.
It's a bunch of one-liners.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He asked about master mentor. Does master mentor have a master mentor find a mentor? Does a master mentor have to have a master mentor, or can it just be a mentor?
Does the master mentor have to have a master mentor, or can it just be a mentor? I think at a certain age, I don't have to have the one guru, but I have to because I've accomplished so much in certain areas of my life. Now I have areas of weaknesses in my life, and so I try to seek out the master mentor in this area instead of. I might need my counselor might tell me different. The life coach, I don't need that. Like kids need guidance over their life, but I have over specific areas. Now, this is how I know they're a master mentor, because I'm seeking them, say, master mentor in marketing. I want to do marketing better in my business, but they don't want to talk about the marketing aspect until they learn the other parts of your life. Like, I can't advise you until I know how you're doing this other stuff. So they're probably a master mentor, but I'm seeking them in this one area. You're like, for me, it might be security and law enforcement. It might be leadership. You're like, there's always people influencing more people than I'm influencing, and so how do you do it? Some of these, like my pastor, like he is Michael McDaniel. He's leading an entire congregation, and he's doing it well, serving people well. Like, and I see a little bit of leadership in me, but I'm not influencing that kind of people, that number of people. So, dude, help me lead, and help me not shame where areas that I might be shaming the gospel in my leadership. I don't want to shame the gospel in my influence. over people. So spiritual guidance and leadership is one thing, but he doesn't give me advice until he knows how's your wife, how's your kids, what's happening at work. He's trying to get every aspect so he can give me, he's trying to give me tips on how to be a better leader, but he can't do it without knowing other parts of my life. So I got to share everything, even though he's mentoring one thing.
For the people who are just now figuring out who Wayland Cubit is, which I think is a very small number, who feels like you just popped up on the map, right, with the sheriff race and being with Oklahoma City Public Schools, what do you tell people who believe in people who just popped up overnight? Like, how do you deal with that?
That's a tough question. I don't know what it is, but I don't tell people, I don't lead with my resume. I don't lead with what I've done. I want to talk about where we're going and what we're doing. So I actually like the fact if people don't know me or recognize me. The beard has been great.
Yeah.
The beard has been great.
It's like a mask.
It's a mask
to
walk around and people have conversations and they don't know me. That's good. They don't have any. So there's somebody that I can show that I care. Yeah. Right. Instead of them assuming that I do.
Based on what they know about
Based on what they know about me. Right.
That's
Based on what they know about me. So, that's a tough question. I don't really know. You got me. Yeah. Finally, you're silent.
Finally. Speaking of knowing Wayland Cubit, I went to Google.
You went to Google?
I went to Google, and I Googled Wayland Cubit, OKC. And around the 18th or 19th page.
They got 18 pages of Wayland Cubit in
They
Google?
got actually 19 pages on Wayland Cubit. And then I just stopped
That's
right
sick.
there. And there was more. I came across this title that said Fine Arts Group performs at OCPD's FACT program.
Oh, yeah.
What is it been?
That's on Google.
That's on Google. Why your approach of like creative and out of the box ways to reach community and be involved? Like, you're always coming up with these unique ways. Like, what causes you to reach out to community and kids and families in these creative ways? Like, where do you get that from?
Yeah. So Master Mentors. Of course, back when I did that the title didn't exist, but being a mentor. And I know that I'm going to have some quality time with each one of these kids. We got to have something to talk about. We got to have some shared experiences, right? And as the leader, I get to create the experiences, right? And so I am looking for ways to do life with the kids, and I want to take them away from their reality to show them that there is another reality, right? This is not the only reality that exists. There's a ton of other realities, right? So most of the time when we go eat, we don't eat at McDonald's, Chick-fil-A. We go, where have you not eaten?
Yeah.
What have you not experienced? All right. And fine arts. And in this case, what we did was create a live performance by live actors that took their reality and put it into a dramatic skit that showed characters overcome the circumstance. And then what was so cool about it is after they did it, the applause was over and all that kind of stuff, we said, okay, let's change it up. Let's put kid from the audience in this circumstance. And now, if you were the kid in this dramatic play, how would you have answered? And then they said, well, my dad didn't do it like that. My dad did. And so they found themselves talking to a fictitious character dad that they were playing as their dad, and then the actor responded to them. So it was so cool. Yeah. It was so cool to see this actor who knows what result we want to get out of it, that everybody wins, that everybody has hope. Tomorrow is going to be better than it is right now, and you have the means in which to change it as a young person. Yeah. And see them. Well, why did you walk out on me? And then the character goes, "Oh, that's the way you felt. I walked out on you, but here's the reality." And it was just awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And then the reason we created that, Derrick, is now as the mentors and me get to ride home, I get to talk about how that make you feel. What you gonna do about it? A week later, remember, this is that same circumstance that we saw in the play. We shared that experience together. Let's respond this way, right? Remember the character one. This is the same thing. Why you can't win, right? Remember, we had that shared experience. Let's have this win together too. Let's make the right move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've seen you do basketball tournaments, ropes course, repellings.
Yeah.
I've seen you do games, activities, athletic challenges, basketball hoops, movie nights, popcorns, hot dogs, hamburgers, snow cones. I've seen you do all these things. What's one thing that you've done that completely blew the socks off of the participants? I've seen you do a lot of stuff in the community.
It is.
Food drives, giving away. During COVID, you dropped boxes of activities off on doorsteps.
Yeah, that was your idea.
It was
That
under your
great.
leadership, though.
Yeah,
but
it
I'm
was
saying,
a-
like, you've orchestrated, you facilitated through COVID, through a pandemic, while working multiple jobs, being a sergeant, then a lieutenant, holding multiple positions, board. Like, you've done a lot of stuff. What's one thing that you've done that was like that hit?
I have not been able to do this on a mass scale, but I would have to say, you ask me tomorrow, I'll come up with a different one, but I would have to say today, the one that pops in my head at that question is a young man named Malcolm who was just trying to decide if he was a gang member or not. He said he knew he was a gang member, but I said, you just trying to decide. You got a good mother. You got a mother that's investing in you. You know she's not. Everything is good about, man. You about to mess up. You got it good.
Yeah.
You don't even know how good you got it. And so I had the opportunity. Well, I didn't have the opportunity. The opportunity was kind of forced on me. My mentor came to me and said, "Wayland, I'm going on a mission trip. I'm taking a bunch of people to Rio Bravo, Mexico, to build casitas, and you should come." And I said, "This is stupid. There's enough mission right here in Oklahoma City.
Come on.
I am not leaving here to go do mission there. Sorry, I'm out. And I gotta pay."
Yeah.
No, bro. He says, "Nope, you ain't gotta pay. I'll pay for it." That was my excuse to get out of it, right? My mentor is asking me to do this, and I use pay as the excuse why I couldn't go. He says, "Well, I've taken that excuse away. I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
I want you to come." I said, "Well, I would, but I'm so invested in my mentors and my mentees and all that kind of stuff, I just can't go. So I would have to take one of my mentees, and they can't pay for it. So, that's all it is." He says, "Pick one. We'll pay for it."
Wow. She's removing all the obstacles.
Yeah, removing all the obstacles. So here I take this kid who's struggling with his identity. I pick him. We go to Rio Bravo. He packs up all of his clothes, his jeans, and his fly stuff, and we're going down there. And he gets down there, and he sees how these people are living compared to how he's living.
Yeah.
And we build a one-bedroom casita that is not the size of his garage for a family of 6.
Wow.
And day 2, Malcolm, those the same clothes you had on yesterday, man. Change clothes. I don't have any more clothes. Why don't you have any clothes? He said, "I gave all my clothes
Wow.
to that family." It's big. It's big. He says to my mentor, he says, "I heard you talking about you do mission trips all the time, that you went to Peru or something and you dig wells and you do all that kind of stuff." He said, "I want you to know, me and my mentor, Sergeant Cubit, I was sergeant at the time, we going every year."
He done volunteered you. Yeah.
We going every year.
We going. Right.
We're going every year. And I'm so pumped up by seeing this, and I'm like, yeah, we down. We're
Yeah.
going every year.
Yeah.
Every year. And my mentor says, "Well, that's nice, guys, but I don't do the well digging anymore. This is all I do is casitas." And I said, "Why is that? We don't want to do this anymore. We did this in 3 days. We down for the 5-day trip in the digging the wells, the hard stuff." And he says, "Yeah." He says, "But here's the deal. The reason I don't do that anymore is because when you go dig wells, we take the same group 4 days. We spend all of our time digging a trench, and then when we get done, some other group comes in after 4 days and they lay the pipe, and then some other group comes in and they put the gravel in, and some other group puts in there, and the groups that come in never ever see water flowing from the pipes that they lay or from the work that they did, and so they're very discouraged because they didn't see a finished product. Here in Casitas, you come in, no house, you leave house, and it's just like that. And he said, so the question you got to ask: do you want to build wells or do you want to build Casitas?
Wow.
Right. And so I've used that kind of to ask people in their service and as their mentee. I tell them the story. And I said, if you are a mentor, you know that you are doing a lot of hard work, that actually planting seeds and watering and nurturing and doing that kind of stuff that's going to produce water and fruit that you may never, ever get to drink from.
Yeah.
And you got to be okay with that. Unless you want to build Casitas. But mentors are in the well digging business.
Wow.
Right?
It's another one.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all caught that one.
Yeah.
That was another one. That was another. Okay, we are well over time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And I got probably the best set of questions.
I thought we were done.
I know. I got one more. And I actually this is an original. I'm taking credit for this one. So as we end today, and we didn't even get to like race or reconciliation. We didn't even get to any of that.
No.
Hopefully, Haiti invites you back. But here's the final question for our podcast interview today. If you could look at yourself through the eyes of these people, what would you want to see? The first one is your grandchildren. If you could look at yourself through the eyes of your grandchildren, what would you hope to see?
Ooh. I don't know who you got on the list, but probably the same. Is I want my God. I want my grandkids, my wife, everybody. I want them all to say the same thing that I want God to say. Job well done, thy good and faithful servant. If they say, Grandpa, man, he did that. Grandpa, boy, he is in them streets.
Yeah.
Grandpa was down for them. Husband was down for the other. Daddy sacrificed for them.
Yeah.
Daddy did it for other folks. My daddy was a leader. My grandpa was a leader. My husband was a leader. Why? It's because he sacrificed what he wanted for what other people need over and over and over and over and over again. Say that, and I'm good.
Yeah, those all 5 people that I had on there. It was literally like your grandchildren, your children,
Oh, really?
your wife, your mentees.
I don't know who's on the list, but say the same thing.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Wayland Cubit. Wayland Cubit. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it. Again, we want to shout out the Treasury for sponsoring us. We want to shout out the Hair Cafe College for sponsoring us, and everybody who came out and ate up Haiti's food and sat in his chairs and wiped mud on his carpet. I think we're going to transition here for a little bit, but I'm going to throw it back to Haiti and let him make that transition.